Watch out behind you. All right, real quick, guys. Let's take it from the top. I was driving around in here the other day, and everyone's like, put your seatbelt on. My seatbelt was on. That's the airbag light. I inadvertently threw out the airbag sensor in the front of the car. There's this nice yellow plug here, and this bracket that is empty and nothing's plugged into it. So that's why my airbag light's on. Second, Matt, why aren't you flooring that thing? I was flooring it and it would go into limp mode. I had to mess with a lot of the throttle settings. It's pretty well known that China throttle bodies throw codes or are undrivable or are not easy to tune. I got all that sorted. So now I can floor it. Then my clutch was getting all sticky and I read up that that's a thing, and I was like, maybe my slave's on the way out now that I have a heavier clutch in the car. Am I beating up the slave now, or is the slave seal bad and it's introducing air? One or all of the above is happening, so I'm going to put a slave cylinder on the car. I put new fluid in it and screwed myself and tried to bleed it myself and had a bunch of issues and had no pedal for a while and was pissed off. And everyone's like, fill your tires with air, bros. The tires have air in them. One of the TPMS sensors is bad. Fully integrated is really cool, isn't it? So the front, I need to put tires in the front. I have tires. My rotors are whooped. The brakes are probably whooped. You know, the list. The list goes on. We're going to get there. My belt does squeal. Yep, I'm going to loosen and tighten it and see what happens there. It might be one of my accessories that just makes noise. I don't know. Otherwise, it's running pretty good. I'm not that great at tuning drive-by-wire, but I'm really getting there. My buddy comes back from vacation to charge the air conditioning and do inspection because this thing has been out for a long time. Also, I did manage to put it on the dyno, so we're going to segue into that. I did not get to spray it yet. I need to hook the nitrous kit back up. I wanted to make sure everything else was good before I wasted my time hooking up the nitrous. Parts of the interior are still out. The glove box and stuff is still out. You know, I'm doing a lot of things at once. Anyway, I did get to put it on the dyno. I have the stock G48 fuel pump in here still. I have the upgraded fuel pump from LOJ I did not install yet. Just for fun, I wanted to try the stock pump. It has E60 in it right now. It's running on the stock truck injectors. I wanted to see how far they would go. I'm completely maxed out. I'm lean. I don't have enough injector, so I want to decap the injectors and do the pump and then give you the information. But the car did make a relatively easy 350 horsepower to the tire and 300 foot-pounds of torque. We'll go over the dyno chart. Very smooth. I was pretty impressed. I figured that would be, I would go at least 300, maybe 325, and then on an ethanol tune, maybe make 350 max, but there's E60 in it, and I have a pump gas safe ignition curve. I'm not taking advantage of the ethanol in there on the ignition table, and it still made 350, so maybe even 375 or more is possible. That's exciting. That's extremely exciting. It's a completely stock 08 4.8 with 188,000 miles on it, so that's pretty impressive. Obviously the stick shift gives you the numbers, but the rest of it is doing really good. So we'll go over the quick dyno pulls. The first time I rolled into it, it was super lean. It was like 15 air fuels. I whacked it with like 20% to bring it down into the 12s, 13s. I added approximately 25%, and it was still like mostly 13s down low and then 14s up top, which I just stayed in it until the rev limiter. I figured one or two pulls wouldn't kill it. Had 115% duty cycle. Just can't get the fuel in it. So it needs a little bit more injector, obviously, for this kind of power. And ethanol, I could always water it down on just gas over the next couple fill-ups and then do my gasoline. But when the car was parked and sitting, the gas in the tank was so old it smelled like vinegar. So I filled up 2 cans of E85, 2 5-gallons, and put them in here, and it filled it up to about 3/4 tank. I figured the E85 would clear out the system and make it smell better than dying animals out the exhaust. So that's where we're at. I know I said I would do pump and E, and I'm still going to do pump gas tune-up, and I'm still going to do an E tune-up. This is literally just the first time to go hit it and make sure everything else is working good. Car's not going into limp mode. It already made more power than I thought it would easily. So we're on the right track. So that's where I am. Enjoy the dyno videos.